What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to the Miss Best Reviews channel. I'm Mrs. Best. We have James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel.
Hi. Hey. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, especially if you like what you see.
Please do. Please subscribe to James's channel as well. We do a lot of lives together. Right now on his channel, he has Bell Collective, the Braxtons, and Salt Lake City. He also has Potomac. I always forget about it because it's forgettable. Sorry, not sorry. But they'll have some other shows coming back as well. So I just encourage everybody to, sorry, I'm adjusting my camera on camera. Okay, that's a little better. Anywho, I am encouraging everybody to subscribe to James's channel, but let's welcome in the chat. What's popping, Kevin Reynolds? Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
It's been a week. It has been a week. Shout out to everybody who works in human services, healthcare, social services, mental health, and anybody who works for federal or government work. We are going through it just as a whole. The federal people ain't getting paid. And then you got people like me who's having to rectify and find solutions for the people who not getting paid. So shout out to everybody. Be kind to each other.
Yes, please.
Like that, but we are going through hell as my phone is ringing. Just stopping by to share a funny story. Please share a funny story, Kevin Reynolds. I'm always here for your conversation and your stories. I hope that you're having a good day thus far as well. Y'all, we are here to get into Married at First Sight. We're going to be doing 2 episodes in one for this review because to me, that was just a little bit easier to do. I watched episode 8 and I was like, oh, I can't just pause here. Let's go into episode 9. And then I watched episode 9 and texted James, like, we need to do both of these in one because episode 9 really didn't give much. It was literally an extension and they could have given us a 90-minute episode as quiet as a skip.
True.
But we will take what we have. Let's get into it. So Megan and Derek are where we start off. They talked. She was tripping out because she felt like he didn't understand. Wait, why did I leave a comment on Shani's page? Recommended by Mrs. Best. Shani or Shayna? I didn't know Shani had a page.
I didn't either. That's why I'm thinking he's on my Shayna.
Yeah, probably Shayna_MCV. Oh, Lord. But I'm curious to hear what the comment is. But these two were basically having an argument. The argument was because of Megan, per usual. She's always tripping. I do think she wants to have a child. I do think Megan wants to be married. I just think that we are starting to see why Megan made it to 38 with no man, no child, no boyfriend, no work, no nothing. She just has the career and nothing's wrong with that. But she seems like she grew up with a lot of what she had. She's not used to hearing no. She's not used to not having her way. I think that compromise is also different for her. She's a fiery personality. So in that aspect, I do think Derek is good for her, especially after watching them. Okay, sorry, y'all. I'm still on the clock. Especially after watching the way he deals with her when she's angry. I feel like he deals with her in the appropriate way. But she says she felt triggered. Yeah, to me, Megan, you get triggered when you don't get your way. So I feel like people use that trigger word loosely. Triggers as it relates to mental health, fine. Triggers as it relates to not getting your way, being spoiled, that's a whole different thing. I feel like Megan, that's kind of the case. But she basically says that she wants him to be more vulnerable. And I'm just like, baby girl, he's been trying with you. Talk to you about the kids, is trying to talk about the past and the future, and you just keep freaking out on him. But they make peace again. Oh, Shayna, what was the comment you left? I'm curious. Shout out to _MCD, who is someone that we collaborate with on both of our pages. We support her thoroughly. Kevin says, I assumed it was you and left the message. Once I realized it was you, oh no, I immediately the comment. Shayna's pretty friendly.
Yes.
Friendly too. I'm sure she don't mind. I'm almost positive she doesn't mind. But please direct your message to the correct inbox. I'm here and I would love to read it. But yeah, how'd you feel, James, about their little peace making? You could call it that.
Like you did, it was very much so. She confuses me a lot. And we'll get more in depth into Megan when we get deeper into the episode and we start dissecting the layers with her. But she confuses me a lot because it's hard to understand what she really wants when she gets so irate about the conversations. It's like he just needed reassurance. He just needed to know this is what you want to do because you have to be honest. She is older, so it's kind of time is ticking. So when do you want to do this? Can you give me a timeline? That's all he really was asking without really asking because he didn't say that. But she's too much at times. Like I feel like the spoiledness really does show. And I wish that she was humble. I do.
Mm, I could agree with that. I could agree. The thing with Megan is Megan's one of those people I feel like her personality wise, I feel like everybody has to warm up to her. I will say
Yes.
that. I also think she doesn't realize her own privilege, or doesn't realize that she may be a little bit spoiled, doesn't realize that she don't do well when she's not getting her way. But I do think there is hope for Megan. I will say that. Rhonda and Pat woke up early to look at something having to do with outer space. Now, we're not going to comment too much on the scene, but I was like, wow, like Rhonda's been talking about how Pat talks about himself and is alluding to him being self-centered the whole season, right? We finally see Rhonda and Pat do something that he likes. I was just happy to see that. Now, Pat, don't be waking me up early talking about it's 3 p.m. on Mars. We got to see this when it's 3 a.m. wherever we're at in what is it called? The solar system, in the solar system. That's all I have to say, but I thought it was cute. James, did you want to add anything to his space watching?
Interesting hobby. Glad he explored it and gave a lot of explanation. I now realize how important it is to him, and glad that despite her lack of interest in it, she was a trooper for the most part. I think that that's what a lot of people do for their loved ones or people they're in relationships with. Is you pretend to like the things they like, so that way you can say you support them.
Oh Lord, sorry, y'all. My husband is voice noting me from work. My apologies. Moving forward, y'all. We're not going to discuss this in depth, but we're going to come back to it. Josh springs on Jalen. When I say springs, I mean at the last moment that they're going to go skydiving. Now, I am someone who has done some things with my husband that are more adventurous, such as cliff diving, bungee jumping. We've done those things together. A goal for me and my husband is to skydive together. We have done some of them spur of the moment, but it was a discussion before we just jumped into the moment, if you get what I'm trying to say. So I thought it was a little, skydiving's like not something, I know some people are like, yeah, YOLO, this and that. But then to me, skydiving, you are kind of putting your life in some type of danger. I feel like anything like that, you should talk it over with people. I feel like something as simple as choosing to fly somewhere versus drive somewhere should be a discussion with someone. But Jalen did it. She was talking about, yeah, it was a bucket list item, but you could tell she was a little weird about it because if the only way you can surprise Jalen, Josh, is to do things that you like or to do things that fulfill you for her or however he wants to paint it, that's a concern. There's shit that my husband hates that he will do for me just because he knows that I love it, such as watching Wicked in theaters or seeing the Titanic when it was in 3D years ago back in theaters. Like, little stupid things that he doesn't care for. Disneyland. I'm a huge Disney person. I love Disneyland. My husband doesn't care for it, but he'll go through Disneyland and swipe his card. Just give him a beer, So it's one of those things where there's certain things, like I learned how to play Xbox just because it's something he enjoys, not just for enjoyment, but like as a hobby. So I feel like, yes, do things that each other likes, but if every time I do something for my husband, it's something I like, hey, let's take you to this movie so you can see this. It's time with me. Like, that's weird. And Josh is kind of giving that. Did you get that from the skydiving activity?
Um, I did get that he likes to spring things on her versus asking her like, how do you feel about this? Would you enjoy this? Is this something you're interested in doing? I feel like he does jump the gun a lot. I do. I feel like he springs a lot of things on her where it would make her reactions valid in a lot of different circumstances if she did not want to do it. So, um, I wouldn't have minded this activity, but I do think that that should have been a conversation. I do agree with that. So I feel like he needs to learn how to communicate asking versus communicates, hey, we're going to do this because it's a surprise. I think he means well, but I think the delivery and the outcome of it is a little bit more of a hindrance on her being.
I agree. I agree. I think that's important too. The fact that he means well, because I feel like Rhonda and Pat are kind of going through something similar, just in a different way. How she feels like he's always talking about himself and coming back to himself, but he's just trying to relate. Like, you can mean well and it can be received differently, but I'm still side eyeing Josh. I've been side eyeing Josh, honestly, ever since. Not even the stuff with his mom, but how he loves to remind us that he grew up poor. I'm just like, yeah, I'm side eyeing you. I still got this banner on here for James's channel. Please click the link. It's there.
Thank you.
I didn't realize
Appreciate
I was
it.
there. James was like, I ain't got no complaints.
Right. Leave it on there.
Says what confused me was I saw your name and assumed it was you. The video of you was up close. I was so used to you being far away from the camera, a smaller screen, when I finally realized how much different you two looked. Let me tell you,
I get it. I get it.
We
That
both
was
wear
like,
glasses. We both be far away from the camera sometimes. We both chocolate, okay? And that's my cancer sister from another mister. I'm trying to tell y'all. That's my cancer sister. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. My husband's actually done that before, and he's married to me. So shout out to you, Kevin Reynolds. Oh Lord. Moving forward, we're gonna get to Brittany and Will. For whatever reason, when I was typing my notes, my phone kept autocorrecting Will's name to Williams, and it's the funniest thing to me in my head. But Brittany and Will, they're doing wrestling together. Apparently, Brittany's a big wrestling fan.
who knew?
Me too. Me too. I am that, and it resulted in my younger brothers being highly obsessed with wrestling. So I was a fangirl watching this. I was, because we got to see Mark Henry, strongest man ever, if you remember him from back in the day. But I'm going to behave on this live. But it was a sentimental meaning. Like, Will did this for her. I thought it was nice because it seems this activity showed me Will and Brittany have something in common, which is wrestling, obviously, because they both seem to be fans. But at the same time, it showed that he put some thought into something he did for her. Will is a strange one. Will is very hard to read. Like, Brittany's difficult and has a lot of growth to do. But I also feel like a big piece of it was she needed that dick and might have got a sample and couldn't finish it. It drove her crazy. But she needs to grow. It seems like she's willing to grow. Now I'm starting to look at Will like, okay, Will. Okay, what are we doing here? Because y'all have a lot in common. Mark Henry gave them great advice about marriage, I thought. But after the wrestler leaves, it seems like Brittany mentions how Will and her have been in a good place. And she's kind of, you could tell she's digging to see if he feels the same. And she says that she could see them, working out in the long run. Will responds saying that, well, anything can happen. And I'm like, the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, for her, mind you, 2 recaps ago, I was reading Brittany for filth, like, grow up, because she has everything, the beauty, the career, the income, the house. The only thing she was missing was the maturity for a relationship, but it seems like she wants it bad enough that she'll work at it. Will, you keep saying shit out the side of your neck, Negro. You keep saying shit out the side of your neck. Okay? Now it's starting to make sense. I feel like more happened with Will and Brittany on the honeymoon. And I feel like she may not have disclosed it appropriately because she seems like she gets highly emotional and doesn't express herself right. But I know he had to do something to piss her off, because watching him respond to her that way kind of irked me. She explains it makes her feel like he doesn't see her as his person. And I'm like, Brittany, listen to your gut. That's women's intuition right there. If you feel like you're not his person, you're likely not the person's person. When you find your person, like, I've been in love, well, thought I've been in love more than once. I'm sure a lot of us have said, oh, I had this relationship, I was in love, I love that person. And then until you meet your person, you don't realize that you had love for them, but it wasn't actual love. You won't know until you really get it, you know, which is crazy. And what makes humans fascinating, because we're all chasing something we just don't know or understand yet, but we all want it, but you don't know you have it until you get it. And sometimes you can think you have and trick yourself and find out 20 years later after 4 kids that it wasn't that what you wanted or had. So
not after 4 kids.
it be happening. It's true. It happens for a lot of people. You can't fault humans for wanting to find love, but I feel like this is a situation where she should listen to her gut, because you don't have to admit that you love someone. I said I love you first to my husband, like, what was it, like 6 months into the relationship? He didn't say it back for like, it was like a year and a half into the relationship, you know? So I feel like, but he always says when people discuss our relationship or ask, or even at the wedding, like, I knew this person was for me when I met them, but like every other nigga in Oakland, he had to play it cool. Don't laugh, James.
Because I know what you're talking about. That's why I'm laughing.
I know you do. But, you know, I feel like most people know when they've met that person for themselves. So I don't know. It just doesn't seem like she should have to keep going through this. But I don't know. He says it's not fair that he doesn't see her that way. And I don't know, Will. You don't have to see her that way, but I think what she wants is honesty. It would be easier if you were just to be forthright and clear and be like, you know, I appreciate that you see us that way. I hope that we can be that way, but I'm going to be honest, I'm still unsure. Like, say that. But he just be like, yeah, I don't know, we'll see. And it keeps it pushing. I'd be like, well, damn. It's just the military?
Okay.
Lord, how you feel about Will?
He is exactly. This is where, because I said he's kind of reminded me of myself, but this is where he and I differ, because I'm actually not this way. I actually align more with Brittany when I'm in a relationship. I align myself with Will when I'm single. So I think he just has not bridged that gap. The fact that he's married, I just don't think it's hit him that he's married, even though he willingly signed up to be on the show. He willingly signed up to be married. He willingly signed up for this partner. I really feel like it just has not hit him that this is realistically a real thing. And that's really unfortunate, because you can tell whatever change that got her to come over to the other side, you know, it's unfair for her, because now she has devoted emotion into this where he's completely blank. So she's feeling everything and then feeling like it's personal, because he's not assuring her that it's not you, it's me. Like, I'm having a hard time with this. It hasn't hit me that I'm married yet. And I know we've been going through a lot of life circumstances with each other, but it still just hasn't hit me because it's still new and fresh. And that would be fair because it is new and fresh. But the fact that he won't communicate that to her, and that's what she's looking for, I understand her frustration. I do. I understand it completely.
It's one thing if you communicate it and she's still asking, then I'd be like, bitch, she told you.
Right.
But she's trying. She's staying calm. I do see, you could see her actively working to keep herself calm when he responds to her in ways that would make, let's keep it a bug, any black woman be like, nigga, did you hear me talking? You know, so
right.
I see her doing the work, which I appreciate, because I hate to recap shows and then have to just read people for filth episode after episode after episode. You want to see people start to pay attention to patterns and try to learn from mistakes, things they've done right, all of that. But I don't know. Will is weird. We're going to come back to them, though. I have a mouthful to say about him later. Derek and Megan go to her family's house, and everything that I've been suspecting and that James has been suspected about this girl being spoiled and rich and growing up well Don't surprise me. Colorless people living in Texas. Don't surprise me. The home was beautiful. Her family home was beautiful. Not only was the home beautiful, there was a lot of love in the home. You could tell that her dad and her mom love each other. I was unsure about their dynamic, but looking at them, I was like, okay, they're a really good balance actually for parents or for a couple separately. So I think her parents got real lucky getting it right. She has sisters, she has grandkids, but it just seems like they live right. I love to see people who have the wealth or the things that I would love to have who are actually enjoying it in the appropriate way, like kicking it in the house, bringing family over, like small things like that matter to me, not to get corny. But yeah, love that. But her parents, everything went well. Her parents want a baby. Stat. So I'm like, okay, good for them. And this is where, and we'll get to it later at the end of the second episode, where I was like, this will probably be the married at first sight couple that has a baby first this season, because they're talking about it so much. And honestly, I don't care about the love, getting to know each other. They both want babies so much individually that I feel like even if it doesn't go right, that they'll do what's best for their kids or still give their kids lots of love. So I do like that about Megan and Derek. But he seemed to blend in with the family. I'm trying not to laugh at Jada. He seemed to blend in with the family really well. Her mom was less snooty. Now, I don't know if it's because it's like, okay, you in my house and my man is here, because some women will behave. I think Dr. Heavenly is a perfect example of that around their men. They will behave. And then others are like me and just gonna act the fool everywhere, you know? But I don't know. It was good, but weird. I'm glad to see her dad. Do you have anything to comment about the episode, or not the episode, but the family house?
No, that was exactly what I expected. Very beautiful. I know exactly where they live too, in Austin. It's a prestigious neighborhood. It is. I don't want to say over sheet because I don't want people to go leading people along. But yeah, no, it was very poised. The mom actually did surprise me. I'm not gonna lie, because I thought she was gonna be uppity the entire time.
I did too.
You know, I just saw that in my mind. I just was like, oh, she's gonna be real uppity. Like, she just looked like one of them like mean ass standoffish. She rich and she got it all together. She looked down on people. But I told y'all, and I kept saying this, because Derek comes from money as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's more than this family. Because the way she go, oh, I can't wait to see your parents. I like, if y'all don't work out, I've got to keep a relationship with your parents because they were the bomb.
There's a reason for that. It's definitely, when you have a certain level of income, networking becomes like a thing. If you're in a certain field, that's why I'm scared to leave California, especially being in the field of mental health and social services. Like, networking, who you know, is a thing. So, hey, Shayna, thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here, Shayna.
She said I'm still on episode 3. Y'all, I thought that Shayna covered this show, and I was like, girl, come join at the end of the season for a live. She's like, I don't cover this shit. I said, oh. But that makes sense that you're still on episode 3. They are dropping 3 episodes every single week. And yes, I am fighting for my life.
Because these are hour-long episodes, fully hour-long episodes with no commercials. They are going through every detail, and every couple has with the exception of Belinda and Chad, every couple has like some old extensive ass craziness going on that you have to dissect. You have to really listen to them to figure out, okay, who's right, who's wrong, are they both wrong, or there was one? Like, it is just crazy. Like, so yeah, it's a lot. So Shayna, take your time. We just, the idiots that just are going to just keep doing this and keep going. Yeah, it does. I agree. It does need to come out weekly because it's a lot to dissect. Like, all these couples are doing the most. Like, it's doing the most.
That's why, if y'all see me looking away, I am on the clock. I'm not being a professional YouTuber. I apologize. And the reason I am on the clock is because they are dropping 3 motherfucking episodes at a time. And I'm trying to find the time. I'm going to the Boy Is Mine concert. They come into Oakland, so I am going to that. I am starting school also this week again, in addition to work. And Peacock talking about here's 3-hour-long episodes. Figure it out. I said, Peacock, go straight to hell. That makes me appreciate Bravo shows and the ones with hecka commercials because it really does help. Y'all, let's get back into the episode. Chad and Belinda, who we're going to move on to next. Like James said, they've been doing well. I kind of had a feeling they would, though, because she is that wounded baby bird he talks about liking to heal, but she's not so wounded that she doesn't have a voice, if that makes sense. He needs someone that is, in my opinion, just a little bit broken, but not so broken that he needs to fix them. But he does need someone a little different. These two are doing okay. I do have a feeling we're not seeing what's really going on because I feel like every time you see Belinda and Chad, it's like, okay, first they were good. Then it stayed okay, didn't really progress. I didn't sense chemistry or sparks. After that disagreement they had a couple episodes ago where he couldn't describe what he liked about her, it seems like they were going to go downhill, but now suddenly they're in love. And I just feel like the jump compared to some of what we saw, either editing is not showing us everything, or they're just really good, which wouldn't surprise me based on that generation, at keeping what they got going on in their house between them.
Right, because that's what I feel like it is. I feel like they're just good at keeping whatever it is on the hush hush, and I feel like Belinda has practice with that, dealing with a cheating husband.
Yep.
I feel like she has practice at that. So I do think that not everything that glitter is gold with them. I do think there are some issues, but
it's something.
There's something.
She's considering changing her name. This is one of the jumps I don't get. I get that you guys are married at first sight. And for those who don't know, if you're married, you can change your name like at any point when you're ready. Just you can. It's free the first time, though. It's not so free the second and third and any other times. But they're discussing name change. She wants to take his last name, which is Williams. I mean, every married couple gets that and does that. I understand it. Something my mom said to me, my mom is Belinda's age, when she was meeting and marrying the husband she's with now, because she married him within 6 months of meeting him and knowing him. Mm-hmm. And this is my mom's third marriage. She's done all of her marriages that way. Just saying. Don't think it's worked out. You're on the third. But I don't know. She said something to me this time because I was concerned when she got married. And she was like, Mina, when you get to my age, you just want a companion, someone that's interested in the commitment. Nothing else really matters. I was like, what? So I never quite understood that, but I feel like Belinda and Chad, and seeing their dynamic, they may have that same belief. Mind you, I am like Brittany's mom, which we'll get to later in the episode, where I did everything opposite of what my parents did as it related to dating. And it's worked. That is all I'm saying. It has worked. I do everything opposite of my parents. Thank you, Shayna, because that is me. That is me. She said freeware I had to pay to change my name and again to change it back. Oh, in California?
Oh, California and Arizona is the same way. It's free in Arizona too, yeah. Maybe because we're community property states. That could be the reason why. Yeah, because community property, because in Texas it's the same thing.
Oh, you gotta really love somebody then.
Yeah.
Ain't no fucking way I'm gonna pay. Because I barely wanted to change the name. For those who know, my maiden last name is Charles. My husband's last name is Herbert. I didn't like Herbert. I say it all the time. I just never liked the last name. Sorry to his daddy. I don't like it. And I was like, let me hyphenate. When I say, even the lady, the clerk that was helping us chuckled. I could tell she was fighting for her life because he looked at me. He was like, get up out and leave right now. If you're going to be mine, you're going to have a name. I'm like, oh, Lord. The hell? Luckily, it was free. If it wasn't free, we would have tore up Alameda County Clerk Recorder's office. And I promise you that, because I'm not paying. She said it was back in 2009, so it may have changed. I've been with friends who've gotten wedded. My friend Jenny, shout out to Jenny and her husband. She subscribes. They just got married on Halloween. Mm-hmm. They got married on Halloween. They did it at the court, and she changed her name, and she didn't have to pay nothing.
Yeah. When I was going through I'm not changing my last name. He's changing his. Yeah. It was free. We looked into it. It was free. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
I think
it's.
most of the West Coast, it's like that because I know Washington's that way, Oregon's that way.
And I think it's because it's hell for us to undo it. So
It's hell to do it. And that's what we're going to get in with this episode because Belinda was going over all the stuff you have to do. I would never, like, even if I were to end up divorced, I'm not gonna wood. I don't want that. I actually like the Negro, but if something like that were to happen, I'm keeping the last name, especially the time I put in. It's like a PFN. I'm keeping that number. Ain't no way. I'm keeping it. I am.
You was ridiculous.
I'm serious.
This fool
Do you
said
understand what we had to go through as women to change our names? It was free, but I had to go to the DMV just for them to tell me to go to Social Security. Go to Social Security for them to tell me, okay, you good. Go back to the DMV to come back to tell me to go to Social Security to tell them to tell DMV that my name was changed. Then I had to tell my employer I couldn't cash my checks for a month because Wells Fargo wouldn't do it under the due day. And the checks was in the old day. And Wells Fargo's was like, your social or your ID say this. I said, oh, hell. And then my bills, I still have people sending me shit in Amina Charles. I said, you know what? She don't exist. Can't find me. I can't.
Listen, there's only a select few that I will change my last name for. My T. Stiebel is one. Michael B. Jordan is two.
I'm not doing this with you today.
And
stop saying that.
there was a third one in there somewhere. I just don't remember who he is at the current moment. But yes, that's the only time I'm changing my. Otherwise, I'm going to keep. Plus, I love my name. Like, so it's like it's gonna be hard for me to always like if I did. It's like
you have an excuse.
Yeah, and I have an excuse. Like I have an excuse to keep my name. But no, I will be James Jackson Jordan, just like Sharice.
Oh, she said it may have changed in her state because she got married in 2009. Oh, me too. That's a good year. I feel like a lot of people got married that year in general.
Yeah.
Ooh, the cat in the background scared the crap out of me. Okay.
Yeah, because it was the only person because I got married in 2009. So the only you don't want to get your situation.
What up, James?
Yeah, a lot of people think you married in 2009. I did not stay, so no.
Yeah. You did get married that year too.
I did.
Oh,
I got married. I got married May 24th. No, not May 24th. It's 23rd.
It was around my birthday.
It was around your birthday. Yeah, it was.
And I remember being pissed off.
Yeah. It was the day after your birthday. Yes, May 23rd.
I said, why would he go and do that, y'all? Well, right. It's okay. Somebody's still married. That work out for now. He's behaving. She said her mama kept her name. You know what? My mom, after she divorced my dad, that was her longest marriage. My parents were married for most of my childhood, but she kept the name until she remarried. And then when she remarried, she dropped the new husband's name and went back to my dad's. I always thought that was weird, but I still think they got a thing for each other, but I'm not going to say too much on live.
See, my dad took my mom's last name.
Oh.
Yeah. Because his stepfather's last name was Jackson as well. So it just made sense for him to be a Jackson versus all of us carrying the last name and then have two families of Jacksons, and it just be weird. Like we're the only not Jacksons. So yeah.
Shady, you got married 9/19/09. Did you divorce? She divorced, right? I feel like she divorced. That is cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he took my mom's last name. Yeah.
9/9/19. My dad and his wife also got married in I think 09 also, but on September 11th, which I always thought was weird. I still tease him about that. Like, you got married on D-Day. Moving forward, nothing really happened. She said, I got divorced a long time ago. Shannon said goodbye, good riddance. Hasta luego. Or not luego. Goodbye. Just goodbye. Adios.
I say goodbye. I don't even think that lady living anymore.
Hi, also Beth. I hope you're watching from work. Keep going. Oh Lord. Okay. What happened with this boring ass couple? Let me see. Because Chad and Belinda is bullshitting. Now y'all got me comfortable. They bullshitting.
They are. That's why I said I don't believe it's all peaches and cream. I think he's a nice guy. She is the sweetest lady I've ever seen on TV. But I don't buy it. I'm sorry. There is something,
The
I don't care how
constant
small it
flowers,
is.
the constant flowers, the you're pretty. I feel like he set her up. Like he seems like the type of guy that'll be like, when I'm
That's gonna
dating,
have a bait and switch.
when you're getting to know him, he'll be like, I like to do this and show love by getting flowers and tell you you're beautiful. I feel like he'll tell you that, and like James said, then in an argument or when he's not getting his way, bait and switch it to
It's
be
a
like,
bait and switch.
well, but I give you this every day. I do what I say. So I don't trust it. And I feel like she's not wanting to discuss that fully. But I also feel like Belinda's the type of woman that will settle. I hate that for her, but I do feel that way.
I feel that way as well, and I don't like that for her either, because why make the same mistake twice?
That's a
When you
question.
don't necessarily have to. And see, that's
the people in this show need to do individual therapy in addition to working with the experts and their spouses. That's the one thing missing, I think, because she needs to identify some things. But to move forward, y'all, before my supervisors catch me, Josh and Jalen are rewriting their vows. This is Jalen's idea after jumping out of a plane for her husband. Girl, after jumping out of a plane, you get everything you want. Everything you want. Foot massages, head, food, everything that you could possibly need, you need to think of and get at once. He shuts down the idea and then shuts down. So Josh says he doesn't like writing. And he says that it took him 4 days to write 4 paragraphs for the vows that they have, because the couples are going to be celebrating their anniversaries in one of the episodes, their 1 month anniversary. Which is a big deal in a situation like this. I get that it took you 4 days to write something to someone you don't know, but you know her now. So I didn't understand why he was bothered, but he says he gets upset and embarrassed about not being a good writer. She tries to explain to him like, okay, well, it doesn't have to be the greatest. It would mean more to me to hear what you have to say about me now that you know me, compared to what you wrote to a person you didn't even know at our wedding day, which is an interesting concept, because I think of my wedding day and I think of those special conversations and things that he said and promised me, not the fact that we didn't know each other, because we did. So it looks like she's trying to like get a moment that she didn't get, kind of. But he's not okay with it. I don't know. He just refused to do it, didn't want to discuss it. He did explain himself later on in the episode and say that he thought he just felt uncomfortable, and public speaking for him is like being in front of everybody and making a mistake. And I'm like, to me, that wasn't a good enough excuse. The way he acted, especially saying your words jumble and stuff like that, I was like, okay, are you like Theo Huxtable? Are you dyslexic? Like, what is the issue? I didn't quite understand what the issue was. Didn't like how he handled it. And I think that this is something I've been speaking about with this couple. They both have a habit to deal with difficult situations with humor or with an unusual amount of pep. Like, oh, yeah, it's okay. We just have to communicate better. When it's like deep down, you're hurt and you're not communicating better if you're trying to make everything sound pretty and look good. But I didn't like how he communicated. I'm looking at him with a side eye. Why is writing a vow so difficult? Like, this is why I can't trust Chad and Belinda either. Go figure, that's her parents. But it's kind of the same thing. Like, if you can't describe what you like about your partner, if you can't say new vows, like, how are you with them? You ask me to say some new vows or write some new vows for my partner. They may not be perfect, but I can do it and say it with no problem. I didn't understand that. So how did you feel about it? Did you understand it?
No, I didn't understand that at all, because to me, it's not that hard. And she wasn't really looking for anything spectacular or over the top. She was looking for something cute, simple, and sweet, kind of how the relationship has been going thus far in the first month of marriage. So she was really just looking for just a sweet subtlety. It could have been short, it could have been one sentence. She wouldn't have cared. The fact that you were building yourself up, it makes me feel like, and I'm sorry, I have to say this, because this is the only way I know how to explain what I'm looking at. My thing is he's in secret competition with her. And it's something that happens all the time, y'all. It's not like that never happens. It happens all the time. He wants to be on the top of outdoing things, to make sure that she doesn't compete or she doesn't say anything. And this was the one time where she picked up on that flaw, that he can't write her. He can't outdo this. Like, he can outdo a skydiving trip. He can outdo the festivals. He can outdo buying her flowers. He can outdo himself in a lot of different ways. But when it comes to this kind of situation, this is something he could now do. And I don't think he really realizes that that's really what this is. I don't think he realizes that he's competing with his wife, because a lot of people don't look at it that way, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it does seem like he has to be the more perky one, always has to prove himself. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because he's clearly insecure based on what he went through with his mom. But we're going to come back to them because there was a whole lot of them in episode 9. A whole lot.
A whole lot. Probably more than I would like. I would have,
I'm not surprised, though. I'm not surprised. I said it from the beginning. They're a little bit too perfect. And people like that, you have to really take a look and say, realistically, there's got to be something you don't like about each other or something that would come up. Every other couple, we've been able to dissect and read for filth, because if you're being authentic with someone and you're being your true self, especially in a relationship, you will clash. It's a promise. That's what makes the relationship worth it, especially in a marriage, is because you clash, but you still choose to be together. You still choose to work through it. You still choose to, go through all the motions. But we'll come back to them. Brittany and Williams, as my phone wants to call this man, they talk. They're extremely awkward, but he does admit that he's not in love with her yet. He says that he leads with his mind and not with his heart, which is probably why he needed an expert's assistance to find love. People like to swear and feel like, I'm confident in who I am. I know what I like and this and that. But sometimes the way that you are, the way that you think, and the way that you express that could be the very thing that's stopping you from finding your person. And it takes a lot of people a long time to see that. But it's just a fact. But I will say this, the fact that it's taking so long for Will to fall in love or feel those feelings, this is not his person. It's not. I'm going to come back to them as well, because both of these episodes are combined. Did you want to add anything to that first combo? Because there's a lot more.
No, we're going to come back. No, I agree. Let's come back to that.
So Megan and Derek rewatched their wedding day. I'm surprised that they got so emotional because they didn't know each other, but it makes sense just now that they know each other. They're like, oh, you look nervous, this and that. Seemed like she was happy to be with him. Megan and Brittany are very similar in that the smallest thing could set them off, but a lot of it is just them training themselves a little better in their own emotional regulation. I think if they were to get those things down and lower their expectations, but also not get rid of them, they would be able to have found someone without this experiment.
I agree.
Yeah, they're awkward, but Megan does say to Derek that she loves him. He doesn't say it back. And this is where I said, okay, Megan, bring Mrs. Beck back to your good side, because I liked her after this. The camera was like, so what was that? She said, I don't know what you said. I didn't say I love you. She said, I don't recall. You could roll the tape back. I said, you know what? I loved her for that. Because if he ain't say it back, then I'm not saying the shit again. I'm not acknowledging it again. He won't get another thing. See, and that's how women, in my opinion, should work. Like, to a certain extent, I feel like the man should do the chasing, but then also to a certain extent, women have to meet them somewhere too. But she said it. She's not throwing a fit. She's not getting mad at him. She's just not going to admit she said it until he says it back. I'm not mad at you, Megan. How did you feel about that, Jay?
I wasn't mad at her either, just because I understand why someone, when I say I love you, basically off of this being only 1 month in the situation, I totally get it. But I also understand her as well. I understand the whole sentiment of, excuse me, I just said I love you, and if you don't love me, okay, then I take back everything I said. I don't love you either. Because you got to play that game with them in order for them to understand how much that hurts. Because that is egg on your face when you say I love you to somebody and they don't say it back. That is hurtful. Like, it is hurtful. You want them to be honest, yes, with how they feel. If they don't love you, that's completely fine. But there is a way to correctly say, okay, look, I care about you deeply, but I'm just not there yet. He didn't say anything until it became a problem. So it's like, okay, so I understood exactly how she felt. I understood the whole wound thing of like that being such a stinger for her. I understood all that. So that's why I wasn't really mad at her. I really was. This was probably the one time I wasn't mad at her.
I think Megan will start to learn. Like, I feel like everyone says they get something out of being on TV. Maybe she'll learn that you can feel how you feel. It's just how you express it that counts. And you also have to be willing to listen to other people. But I think that she'll slowly start to get that, because we don't, as you see, Megan, we may have read you for filth the other episodes, but here he was like, I ain't saying it. I plead the fifth. You can roll the tape. I ain't got shit to say till he has something to say. People respect that. So you throw the fit and storm out and try to gaslight and make the other person into the problem. But I'm hoping she gets it together. But I will say she's good TV. I will say that.
I actually would not mind seeing her on Housewives.
I wouldn't either.
I don't know which one I would put her in. Because it's a toss between Beverly Hills and Salt Lake City. I don't know if she's rich enough for Beverly Hills, but I could definitely see her in Salt Lake City with.
You just read them for filth.
What was that?
You just read Salt Lake City for filth. I don't know if she's rich enough for Beverly Hills, but we could put her on Salt Lake, which is true. It's true.
Because them heifers ain't rich. If the highest net worth for the Housewives is $5 million and 3 of them tie to that, according to Google, if that's what we want to follow, I'm sure Megan fits right in with the rest of them. But if we're talking about Kyle Richards, who has a net worth of $50 million, Jennifer Tilly, whose net worth can't even be determined because she gets a residual check from one of the largest grossing shows in the world, I don't think she's on that level.
Okay, my bad, y'all.
No, you're good. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be shady. I'm just saying
that's
a lot to live. That's a lot to live up to.
Beverly Hills, yeah, that's a lot to live up to. And honestly, as quiet as it's kept, most of the people in Beverly Hills living like Erica in a very small place at the bottom of.
Oh, I forgot about her. I don't like her. That's why I forgot.
Nobody does.
Okay, she is richer than Erica, so maybe she could jump up in there with them.
Housewives of Beverly Hills, you guys will be making a return, I think, next month. I can't remember when, but it's coming back soon. We got the trailer. It was boring. Yes, I will be covering it. I'm excited for Rachel Zoe. That's it.
I don't even know who that is.
She was on Bravo back in the day. I'll catch you up.
Yeah,
but we're going to get into the couples going to Rhonda and Pat's house for dinner to celebrate their 1-month anniversaries. Let me tell you, Rhonda is me as a host. I love Rhonda. I love hosts like Rhonda. I love hosts that make the effort to make you comfortable, or whoever's in their house comfortable. It's not about having the fanciest things and the best brie sitting on your countertop, but it's about, just put the effort in. Example, I was just at James's house. I had something to drink. My blood sugar got actually dangerously low and I passed out at his house, but I did it quietly because I didn't want him to know. But he had a bunch of sodas in his refrigerator. For anybody who has dealt with hypoglycemia, that is just what you need. Yes. He had soda, Ensure, food. I had a mattress to lay on, pillow, clean sheets, towels, my own restroom. Like, it's not about giving somebody the fucking Ritz-Carlton, but you should make an effort to make your guests comfortable. And I felt like Rhonda did a beautiful job at that. She hired a fucking chef.
Which was one of her friends, and she put her friend on TV because I guarantee you, everybody was looking for this friend after the show went off. Because that food did look good. So
it did. Yeah. But honestly, it's Texas. That's why I am considering, to those who are familiar with our channel, I am considering and looking into places that I can leave for California. Because as my husband completes his degree, something about my money, we spend so much money. And it's like, we do, so I got to listen. So we may be leaving California. I don't know where I'm going to go. but I'm taking James with me where I go because I can't go nowhere alone.
She said whether I'm married or not, she gonna take me with her. And I was like, okay, well,
Yeah,
I'm going. I'm
who,
going. We
who
just
gonna
got to
stop
pack
me?
us. We
Who
just
gonna
got to
stop
pack up.
me?
Right. We just got to pack up the car and just go. Because
I can send
honestly,
you home. You
y'all.
can attach your car to it, save the miles. I got you. I even put tires on for the trek. Save your own tread. You know what I'm saying? But we go.
No, y'all, I'll tell you, we've been like this since she left me. Like, I'm just like,
Not
I
she left.
miss her. I miss her so much. Like, honestly, I was so bad. It was only like 2 days. I was like, wait, where are you going?
I
Like,
don't get it.
y'all can move in right here. I'll get y'all a real bed this
Don't put me in
time.
the desert. I ought to sue you for saying that on the internet. You gotta put me in the desert. I don't do desert. I almost died outside. I'm trying to take a stroll outside. I shouldn't have done it. The creatures out there are bigger. Nope. But y'all, Wanda the Great hosted. She did.
Mhm.
The couples go around the table and everyone's doing okay for the most part. But when talking about love, Will says that he liked Brittany, but he's not at the point where like he could say he loved her to where if she were sick and bald with chemo, that he would still be like, damn, I love you.
Mhm.
Will,
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
say that again, baby.
Mhm.
That's all. I'm gonna come at
Mhm.
you like my nana would, but baby, just don't say it. Just be quiet.
Don't even think that.
Don't even because
Don't even.
you don't have to love someone like for instance, if I'm walking through a hospital and I see someone being dropped off to dialysis, which I see a lot with coordinating things for clients, or if I walk past oncology a lot and I see those units where people are getting medication. Sometimes you see them going to the bathroom weak. I'm that person that will help them back into their space and then sit with them for a few minutes and just hold their hand or conversate. You don't have to know people to be compassionate. So I do think that that was a terrible example that Will could give. And this is why Will, just for me to keep it short and sweet, this is why just be forthright and keep it a buck, my nigga. Keep it 100 with how you feel. Because when you get into using metaphors and trying to explain yourself in a way that is pleasing and making others feel comfortable, you say stupid shit like that. Don't say that again, Will. I'm going to give Will a pass because Will has been through it. But don't say that again, Will. James.
No, I'm not gonna give him a pass because that was very disrespectful. I'm sorry. Like, if I was Brittany, I would have got it from that table because I would want to disrespect this lady's house like this because this was her actual house. This wasn't the little, you know, condo they give them to live in for mutual quarters. This was this lady's actual shit, and it would have taken everything in me not to just cause a ruckus up in this lady's house.
Just
So
Tamar Braxton that glass across his face.
I'm trying to tell you because how dare you? Why does it have to be so detrimental? Like, why does falling in love with me have to be that catastrophic? Like, it could just be, she made me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and she makes sure I'm always good. She does things for me that just make me go, damn, I just love her for this because she's taking care of me in ways that I probably wouldn't take care of myself. Why couldn't it be something like that? Why did it have to be so crazy where I almost feel like, Brittany, I hope you paid attention to that shit. Because he's telling you exactly who he is. And the loops you got to jump through. And as I said, I understand that as having someone who doesn't tell you I love you often. And I'm trying to stretch how much that is important, regardless of whether you feel it or not. It is important. And if you don't feel it, then you need to let me know so we can make other arrangements because I need someone who loves me. And I need Brittany to do the same. I need Brittany to say, look, if you don't love me, stop wasting my time.
I do
Because
feel like it's so early. They're a month in. It's okay not to love her, but to go and say and do all that extra stuff instead of just leaning into the fact that you've only known each other a month and she made your first month hell. Like, I don't get why men do this. A lot of men do this. Like, to avoid confrontation, they'll just be quiet and go along to get along. But you can't do that, because eventually you're going to have to answer to that going along to get along. And that was the example of that. We'll come back to you, Will, but Will, don't do that no more.
That was horrible. Like that to me, if it got to be that detrimental, then I don't even want. Like I wouldn't even want love. I don't even
who thinks that way. Just because if he really wants to say stuff, and that's why you got to be careful with metaphors. Again, you don't need you don't have to love someone to give compassion. You don't have to love someone to give empathy. You don't have to know them. You don't have to know their story. You don't even have to know their name. And it shows that in order for Will to give that, he may need that. I don't think he's that way. I don't think he meant it to be that way, but I'm starting to see also why he may be single, but
I definitely see why he's single.
Yeah.
Nobody understands that.
Yeah. But
nobody understands it. Yeah.
We're gonna come back to them because we're gonna get into a lot of Brittany and Will in the next episode. At this table, Derek and Megan, they discuss love, and Derek, you know, he's like, historically he struggles with love, but he has strong feelings for Megan, is on the path to love. And they ask how she feels, and she said, same. I said, Megan, you just keep warming up to me. I respect that. And you know, with the arguments in the beginning, I felt like Megan didn't want to argue on camera, and Megan was trying to manipulate stuff and not look worse on camera, which I can understand. That's also a natural feeling. But that's why some people stay in their relationships and others don't. And not the toxic ones where people are keeping like domestic violence and drugs and other shit a secret. Like, you can be in a relationship and people can know your business. Like, James knows a lot, but he doesn't know it all. He knows what I've told him so that I can get what I need from him to get through those moments. And I'm sure it's the same vice versa with his relationship and most people. You cannot disclose every single thing that you go through in your relationship. I do think in the long run, this is something that Megan will bring to her marriage with Derek that will be a positive. Because when shit hits the fan, it doesn't give that she's going to go talk to 20 different people instead of her husband. She's going to talk to him and keep it in the house with him. And I think she may do that because she knows her parents will judge it, or her family will, or she's learned from the past. But I do like that about her. But girl, okay, Megan, show redemption episode. James is like, I still don't like her.
No, it's just because I feel like it's passive aggressive.
It is passive aggressive. But is it
warranted
in the beginning? But overall, the way she is good. But she needs to not be that way.
So what happened? Yeah, because I was saying, what happened to a united front?
Technically, her saying same is having a united front in a passive aggressive way. That's exactly what she would say, because it is. It is. So
yes, it is, but at the same time, it's not warranted. It's not necessary.
It's not, but I'm also not mad at a woman for not admitting that she said I love you to a person on camera after already being embarrassed. Like, if it was like a normal circumstance without the camera, I'd be like, okay, girl, that's ridiculous. But being that what she went through, I will give Megan a pass with that regard. But we know that the girl is passive aggressive, difficult, and neurotic. Like, I'm starting to think that's just who she is. It sounds terrible, and he seems to accept it. So all we can do is
for now, because what's the alternative?
Child, we're gonna get to it. Pat gave all the couples good advice. He said it's not about age, it's not about love at this point. He said it's just about how committed you are to the process and the experience of being married. And I was cracking up because Rhonda had the Did you, Pete?
I did.
Rhonda, you know all these complaints about Pat, but around other people, you just love when he is giving wisdom, and because she was at that table. Oh, I'm gonna give it to him later. Just wait till we put these dishes up. She had that look. I said, Rhonda, you don't know what you want either, bitch.
Rhonda toxic as hell. I'm telling you, as toxic as she want to be. You know what? It's because she's been conditioned. That's why you can't be single too long.
Yep.
You can't be single too long. That's the prime example. I'm gonna tell y'all out there, whoever watching this, don't be single too long, because the problem is you'll be like Rhonda, where you're setting your ways and you do certain shit that is very toxic to the other person. That and then when they call it out to you, then you want to get in your feelings.
Right. A mess. That's exactly that. But that's a message too. It's a such thing, in my opinion, as being single for too long, and there's a such thing as being a little too
I
turned
learned
up.
that in my 20s, though. I learned because you remember from my 20s, I stayed single from 23 to 29.
Yep.
And that was a
Everybody
very
claims they were
long.
starting, plotting, or married and having kids. Everybody at one point.
Mhm.
And he was happily single. I was like, I respect
I was single because to me, I kind of felt like there's so much of me that I did not know, and I just was so lost. And that was just those were my building years. I'm still building today, but those were the start of my building years. But I felt like I should have had a relationship. I dated, but I should have had a relationship somewhere between that 23 and 29, somewhere up in there. I should have had a relationship somewhere up in there. Because when I got to 29 and got in that relationship, that's when all the fuck shit started. Because then I transitioned to starting to date men, and that's when shit really just went crazy. Then getting engaged all these goddamn times.
Yeah, it's funny when my friends, I have a few friends who dated women and later chose to date men. And I'd be cracking up because they all come back to me at one point and be like, "This what the hell y'all been going through? Let me get
Right.
you." I
Like,
think
for real,
y'all was
y'all be going
typical.
through too much. Yeah, y'all be going through too much. That's one thing I learned too, especially that middle relationship, the last one. I said, oh no, it's too much. I'm sorry, ladies. I will
Men
never
that
judge
put you
y'all
through
again.
hell and then still want dinner. And you be like,
Yeah,
the
the
audacity.
fuck?
What?
Right.
Like
Yeah,
what?
we
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah, that was Mr. Best the other night. He got on my nerves, my last nerve. So I was tired from work and hella stuff, had hella stuff to do, and he's like, I'm hungry. Then feed yourself. But apparently that wasn't an option. That's why he got DoorDash. Um,
I gotta learn how to do that too.
anywho, moving forward, Rhonda and Pat were drunk, in my opinion. They went to some, like, Austin, keep Austin weird. It's a thing. Live music capital. One of them of US is Austin. So Rhonda loves music, and I don't like people like this. It was clear that they were drinking. She had her cheese. They were prepared. It looked like a good time. And a song comes on and she starts talking about what the song meant to her after it goes off. Everyone's having a great time, and Rhonda's in tears, getting sentimental, talking about what this damn song meant to her. And he mentioned in response, like, I would love to bring you to the mountains so you could get to see something I love, because that's what he likes. As he's at this event for her, as we're going to see him go to the grave later for her, as we saw him come with her to her house to garden. Like, he's done a lot for her, and she keeps trying to make it seem like he's making it about him, and he's not. But he mentions wanting to do something that he loves with her, and she walks off because she felt like he was making it about himself again.
Rhonda.
Rhonda, we had such high hopes for you because you
We
really are
do.
lovable.
Yes.
Like, Rhonda's lovable, but I see why Rhonda's alone.
I do too.
And instead of getting mad at people for saying that you're a lot, maybe take a moment and say to yourself, why is it that every person I date, my children, my ex, my friends, the experts, including yourself, say that you're a lot? But the only person who seems to be struggling with dealing with the fact that Rhonda is a lot is Rhonda. Even Pat's figuring it out. So, Rhonda, I know it's harder to teach an old dog new tricks, but it's not impossible. Get out of your own way. That's all I will say before we move on to the next episode. James, do you have anything to add to Rhonda?
I do have something to add, Rhonda. Let me explain something to you, sweetheart, because I do love you. I have a soft spot for Rhonda. But Rhonda, if you want him to move differently, you have to move differently too. You need to lead by example. So instead of you getting mad about the fact that he brought up he wanted to take you to the mountains, just say, oh my God, I can't wait. When do we leave? Or just give him some glimmer of hope. Because then maybe if you do that, he'll do that. You ever think about that, Rhonda? Maybe if you lead by example of what you want him to do, maybe he'll do it. Some men have to be direct. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. They have to be directed into what, because they cannot understand you. He's trying to relate to you because you're his wife. This is still a new experience. But the fact that you keep setting up booby traps for him to step on every single time, it's really getting annoying. And we're going to get into more of it, I know. But I'm just saying, I'm starting that out because I'm going further when we get to this car conversation. So.
That's true. Rhonda, I'm sick of it though. I am sick of that. Last thing we see before this episode ends is Josh and Jalen having a conversation about his friend. They come in their apartment and the cameras they got set up is catching some shit. So Jalen met Josh's friends and business partners, and apparently the friends were mentioning social media a lot. I said, Josh, those aren't your friends, baby.
They are messy as hell.
Those are not your friends, not even a little bit. I know a lot about James's past relationships and dating history, but James would tell you I've been around his spouse. I'm not going to be the first one to bring up his past relationships and dating history in front of his current spouse. It's inappropriate and uncouth and not my business. And in that order, or whatever order you want to put it in. It's like, and so I'm looking at Josh like, okay, your friends are problematic. They seem to want to sabotage this. But then it comes out that his friends had concerns because Jalen reminds Josh of the type of woman that he's dated. Jalen is similar to the type of women Josh has dated before in his friend's perspective, and for whatever reason, that has not worked. How can you say that someone is similar when you just met them? It sounds like his friends overjudge Jalen. His friends have wives. His friends have partners. I understand married at first sight being problematic, but why didn't we see this on camera? Like,
I know, I would have loved to have seen this conversation.
Yeah, I'm like, is this a different set of friends? Like, there's a lot of questions I have. But what ends up happening is Jalen finds out that Josh did not actually unfollow his ex on social media. She says she's upset about the lie, but I feel like she's upset about more. We're going to go into the next episode because that's where this one ends. So now we're going to discuss Two Truths and a Lie, which was episode 9. We pick up from where we left off for the most part. But we pick up with Josh and Jalen meeting with Dr. P and Pastor Calvin. Now, Jalen explains to the pastor and the experts that she does not like the fact that Josh lied. Now she's saying it's not that he has the ex on social media. She's like, he could have continued to follow the ex. That's not the problem. It's the fact that you felt the need to lie about it. She says that she still trusts him, but she's starting to see that he could be a yes man and just saying shit to her because he doesn't want to rock the boat. Before I go further, Jalen loves to put other people in blame and not pay attention to her part and stuff. My thing, you said to us with the expert last time in front of your husband that you're not okay with having exes on social media. You have none of them on there. When you're done with someone, you're done with them. And then he responded, then I will get rid of her. He only responded that because you told him it would be a problem. Now that he has kept the person on social media, which he lied, and I'm going to get to him next, but he kept the person on social media, now you have a problem. And it doesn't just seem because of the lie. Because what if he lied about having a friend on social media that he never dated? What if he lied about having his auntie on social media? It's not the lie that's the problem. The problem is that it's an ex. And I don't understand why Jalen was willing to admit that in the past, but now she's suddenly not willing to admit it. So that lets me know that arguing with her and conversations with her will be difficult because you don't really know what she's feeling.
Right.
But Josh, why are you lying? If you feel the need to lie, that means there's something that you're doing that you know is wrong. That's how I view lies in a relationship. If you feel it, and you think to lie, that means you know that what you're doing is something your partner wouldn't approve of or that you might want to call and talk to them about first. So it's interesting that he lied about it. Also, put your friends on a leash. None of my friends could ever make my spouse so uncomfortable talking about exes. Like, some friends will try. I do have some friends that don't understand boundaries and will try and talk about some crazy shit that I'd be like, don't bring up. But if I nip it in the bud and stop them, they stop. Like, why were your friends allowed to have this strong of an opinion around the girl? That's so disrespectful. Then you're a bunch of men making a woman uncomfortable. So I'm looking at Josh and his friends like, okay, this is all a mess. The pastor and Dr. P kind of helped them. The pastor does notice that they're both kind of like, Jalen's trying to say that Josh wants everything to be perfect and is avoiding difficult conversations. But the pastor points out, well, why don't you tell him some shit? And she's like, well, I don't want to be going to a bunch of festivals and camping. I'm like, thank you. because you've been saying this since you met him. I don't want Burning Man. I don't like music festivals. I don't want to do this. This isn't my idea of fun. But then she keeps saying yes to stuff. So even though he should be considerate of what she's saying, how can he know that you're really not willing to do it or against it if you keep saying yes to stuff and then afterward you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did this. I loved it. He's going to think that you like being surprised. So you can't do that, Jalen. So, they kind of tried to help. But it didn't do anything. Once she made it clear she had no concern for the festivals, his whole demeanor changed. Like, this grown 31-year-old man, fucking child that he is, I'm sorry, I'm saying what I'm saying, his whole energy changed just because this girl don't want to go to Burning Man with you. Grow up. Grow the fuck up. It reminded me of Megan with the country music, how she was almost ready to write Derek off because he likes EDM and she likes country. Everybody's going to listen to different music. Some people love R&B, just like I love R&B, but we listen to totally different R&B. It's just the way life is. Like, I don't understand the issue, but she does tell Josh in front of the doctors, she may not want to be a part of it, but she's not going to stop him. She does not have a problem going if he goes to these events alone. They low-key made peace, but I feel like the doctor should have dug into the social media issue wrong or more, because that to me is a bigger deal than him having to go to Burning Man with his friends and not his wife. Like, the deeper he gets into marriage, he'll probably enjoy that break from her. But the social media part is the part that impacts the foundation of a relationship. And people like to pay attention to small problems or material shit, like going to a concert, when the foundation of your whole shit is cracked because he's lying to talk to an ex. The doctors or experts, they should have touched on that more. But how do you feel about that first interaction with the doctor?
I agree with you. They should definitely touch on that more, because that was a bigger problem than all of the activities that he wanted to go to. I do feel like, once again, and I said this earlier, I said you can't just throw things at her, trying to outsource or outdo whatever she wants to do with you because you feel like she would enjoy it. And if she respected you, this is what she would like too. That's not how any relationship works. As I told y'all, me and mine like completely opposite things. Will he come to some of the things I like? Yes. Will I go to some of the things he likes? Yes. But we have to meet in the middle a lot of the times. And I'm sure Mrs. Best can relate to that as well. Is there certain things that her husband likes that she probably doesn't like, and vice versa. And I think that couples, especially in this day and time, feel like they have to do things together, that they have to go to this event together, that they have to show up here together because they're married. And it's like, no, you could be married but like different things and go to separate things. Like, you could have your group of friends that like to go camping. I don't recommend it, but you have your friends that you like to go camping. She might have her friends she want to go to the nail salon with. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's you can't be with each other all the time.
It's unhealthy.
It's unhealthy and it's unrealistic. Like, you have to have separation. You have to have something that binds you, because you have to fulfill you. Otherwise, you're not going to be good for the person you're with. So I feel like he has the wrong idea of marriage based on the example of his grandparents. I feel like he has the wrong example, because what worked for them may not work for you.
Yeah, that's important. I definitely think that. I also think that how marriage was for our grandparents, because he's my exact age. Like, it's entirely different to how marriage is today. It's entirely different to how our parents handled marriage. It evolves constantly as generations change. So that's something he has to realize. I also think that Josh, you said the wrong idea about marriage. I think he has the wrong idea about marriage in that he thinks that he is supposed to be with her all the time. I feel like he was at Burning Man and all of these festivals and things that he loves and seeing people doing them with their girlfriends and partners, and that made him want to do it. I don't feel like he got married because he wants fully a companion. I feel like a large piece of him got married to have a companion for the things that he likes, which lets me know he doesn't understand it and he has a fucked idea. But to get back into Josh and Jalen, because the experts didn't leave, but these two talk more after the experts leave. And Jalen's explaining. She's like, listen, 7 days in the desert is not a fun time for me. And Josh is sitting there literally doing everything he can. The man should have gotten a law degree and been an attorney. He is trying to negotiate and get this woman to go to Burning Man. And she looks at him. She's like, I don't want to be in a desert. That's not my idea of a fun time. I'm not going to do it. And then she explains to him, I don't understand why you're making this a big deal now, today, when you've been saying for weeks and the whole time I met you that if I don't like it, that it's no big deal. He's like, well, I just want you to try it. She said, I don't mind trying stuff, but I'm not trying anything for 7 days. Okay, this is not a Hulu subscription, Josh. She like this is not a harmless seven days where you got to remind yourself to end the subscription if you don't really want to pay. This is like someone in the desert going to an event. Burning Man has been controversial in the last few years for safety and other reasons. She may not care for, like, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot for anybody. So she's trying to explain it to him. He's not getting it. He then comes up with the next argument, which made my fucking teeth itch. You know, it's a passion for me. It would be kind of like if I asked you like to stop running your cycling class and close your cycling school. And she was like, that's something I would not be willing to do. That's my boundary. So if I had to choose between you and my career, I'd choose my career. And I looked at Jayla and I said, okay, you got hope. There's hope for you if you stop leaning into that positive bullshit and just tell the man how you really feel. Because I respected that. If you build a career that is for you, like, absolutely, I'm not just going to, especially if I had it before I got with someone, I'm not just going to give up my life for you. And if you love me, you should want me to. The fuck? Why are we even using that as an example? Like, to compare her dream and career to going to Burning Man. And I've had people who go there. They get high, they run around the desert, and they listen to music. Like, you're not going to sit here and tell me that that connects to someone's dream, passion, how they make a life for themselves. Like, you're not going to tell me that. He gets pissed because she rolls her eyes because he's not understanding. And every time she tries to explain herself, he's like, okay, well, let's practice letting each other talk. I said, oh, okay, so you passive aggressive as fuck. Because that's the worst thing you could do to someone when they're annoyed is say, calm down, or let's practice being respectful of each other. Like, that's so passive aggressive. That would send anybody into a fucking frenzy. So she makes it clear again to Josh. She's like, I'm not interested. I'm not going to do it. And this man starts crying. Colorless people, white community. Why do you guys cry when you don't get your way? And I'm not even asking to be rude. Like, I have noticed this in the colorless community. When they don't get their way, they literally cry or fuck shit up. Hell, look at our government. like, quite literally. They don't get their way and they throw a fucking fit. Like, worse than anything I've seen in my life. And I don't understand it because you are a grown-ass man in your 30s, a business owner, and you are crying because your wife doesn't want to go to a concert that happens once a year. You do not make money from this. It does not bring you any health. It does nothing for you. As quiet as it's kept, it's temporary joy, but it doesn't do anything like on a long-lasting level to change your life. This is not a retreat. This is not that. And looking at the pictures of him at the music festivals, I have a concern that Josh is not maturing in the right way in the right spaces. I feel like he understands to go to work, but I don't feel like he's ever going to grow out of the music festivals. Josh, this is your wife. Are you going to be 90 hitting up Burning Man? Josh, I'm just like, dude, I've never seen like a 60-year-old at these types of festivals. So I'm just looking at him and I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous that you're choosing to fight this fight. But then he somehow, when he realizes she's not going to go, he's like, oh, you know, the issues with my mom and I'm introverted. And, you know, it's hard for me to find places that I belong and have community.
Bullshit.
Josh, Community is not music festivals. Music festivals is a bunch of fans that like certain artists that were willing to pay and want to have a good time. That's not a sense of community. A sense of community is how I know my neighbor 4 doors down from me. His name is Alex, and he has a cat that he likes to take on walks. Like, a sense of community is when I go to the corner store by my house, they know my name, we greet each other, and if he needs help bringing stuff in, sometimes my husband will help them bring in their load or their inventory. Like, that's community. Feeling like you belong. When I am with James, I feel like I belong. When I'm with Leona, I feel like I belong. When I am with my friends, I feel like I belong. And my current employer, I feel like I fit in and belong. The fact that you don't feel like you belong anywhere and you own a company, you have this close family, tells me he shouldn't have been a part of this. But I was really annoyed, and I think I did good at not calling him the bitches that I wanted to call him. So I'm proud of myself for that. James, I'm going to let you dissect Josh and Jalen before we finally move on from these people.
No, we can go ahead and move on because to me, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I was annoyed because we were comparing apples to oranges, and I was just as frustrated as she was.
Yeah.
And there was another thing that she gets equally as frustrated where this comes up again in the new episode, and I'm just like, we're never gonna get into this. So without jumping ahead, I'm just gonna say, you know what? Sir, grow up.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say. Grow up. Because at the end of the day, that was ridiculous what you did. And I'm glad that she didn't fall for the manipulation that you tried to do.
I think Jalen knows who she is. I think when you go through trauma that's big enough, it does help people to see stuff in a different way and feel more confident in themselves.
Yes.
I'm glad for her for that. This is so unattractive to me, though. Men that move like this. Nothing's wrong with a man crying, but cry because it means something, not because of a fucking music festival that you're not being told you cannot go to. You just can't show off your wife. You won't have arm candy. I hope.
I don't know what's worse. I don't know what's worse. I don't know if it's the fact that he was crying because she didn't want to go, or if he was crying because he felt like he didn't have a community to belong in. I don't know what's worse.
I feel like he was crying because he was not getting his way. And I have a feeling that growing up with his grandparents and them probably feeling guilt, especially that grandma about her child, his mama, I feel like it's okay to cry, but the extent that he does it and the things that he does it about, grow the fuck up. Women want a man to lead us, not to be crying over a fucking music festival. He better cry just like that when it comes time to buying a house. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to fucking say. Pat and Rhonda are in the car in their nice Benz. Moving it along, they are on the way to see the grave of Rhonda's passed on father. Rhonda's father passed away when she was 19 years old, which probably explains a lot of the choices she's made and then, unfortunately. She has a lot of regret because he never got to meet her father. The one thing about Texas, the way they drive out there, I love it. Texas drivers, I was looking at the road, Pat looked all sorts of nervous. I seen a car behind them, a green car merging in and out. I said, that's my kind of driving. I love it. But it did look like faster driving for like someone older. No shade, y'all, just the fact. And Pat did look like he was heavily focused on the road. You could see that they would go from the street to like a big ass interstate and all this stuff. So it did look like they was driving through some stuff. While he's driving, and I'm a person that I can talk when driving with no issue, but some people, if you talk to them when there's a lot going on the road, they're not going to respond or they're not going to catch what you're saying because they're focusing on the road, and I think nothing's wrong with that. Keep us safe however you got to do it. Rhonda talks about something with her dad and Playboys, and Pat tries to jump into conversation and relate, talking about, yeah, that was normal back then because I remember my dad had a bunch of Playboys. And she interrupts him and is like, really? I'm trying to share a vulnerable moment and I'm going to go see my dead dad. And I'm just like, I don't like when people do this. Just because your parents died doesn't mean you get to go and make everybody and their mama feel bad for trying to relate. And you're not the only person who's lost a parent. And I hate that I have to say this to Rhonda, but I do. Just because you've gone through something bad, just because you've lost a parent, you're going to be triggered, yes. But if your triggers harm other people, you have to figure that out. It's not a pass. That's what grief counseling's for. And it's free, most places. Whether people choose to do that or not is their choice. But you don't get the right to blame every little thing. Because if it wasn't her dad with Rhonda, she would have said this about, in general. Like, oh, you're making it about you again. It's just now she's saying you're making it about you and I'm trying to talk about my dead dad. He's trying to relate to you. What the fuck do you want him to do? So I'm looking at Rhonda. I'm like, please don't make this hard for us, Rhonda, because I know that you're grieving. I know that that's difficult for you, especially to lose him at that age. But keep your grief in track. And if you can't, then take a moment or say nothing at all. That's another option for people who experience triggers. And it seems like Rhonda just always has to explain and talk. And I don't want to hear it anymore. But she pretty much does too much in the car. They get to the dad's grave and she pissed me off again because she said, do you want to say something? I get it. It's your dad. He was important to you. He don't know the man and did not know him and barely knows you. How can you expect someone who did not know the deceased to say something to the deceased? And so Pat was like, nice to meet you. And I was like, Pat.
What else could he say?
At first, I sat and I kept rewinding it because I genuinely was like, is there something else he could say? And I really didn't want to come on here because so many people have lost parents, including James. And I don't want to lack empathy to the pain that comes with that. But realistically, if you did not know somebody who passed away, what would you say? And then if you do not know someone that's passed away and you're now married to their daughter and you've only known her for 30 days, what else can he say other than nice to meet you? At least he tried. But Rhonda's like, I just want time alone. Okay, Rhonda. So she's, she has her time alone and she talks to her dad. I did think it was appropriate for her to be alone so she could have that moment. But they get back in the car and he's still down to drive her around. And she's just talking and yapping while this man is trying to drive. And it's interesting, Rhonda, if you notice that he doesn't pay attention to what you say or misses things frequently, then at what point do you accept that that's just part of his personality? He misses things. Also, if you're talking to this man and he is driving on an interstate and you're just blah, 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 blah.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Because the question she asked him was impossible. The lady asked him, how long has my father been dead? That's what she asked him.
He just met you over 30 days
He just
ago.
met you and you just told the story 20 minutes ago. So how the fuck is he supposed to remember how long your dad has been dead when you just, in fact, told him and he's trying to drive, pay attention, listen to your stories, go see your dad, trying to process the fact that, okay, there's maybe something more going on here. And you want him to remember how long your dad's been gone when he just told him 30 minutes ago? No, y'all, that's not, because a lot of people are like, well, she just told me he should remember. No, he shouldn't.
It's not his job to remember. If the father had passed away in recent times, fine. This is a 63-year-old woman. Her father passed away when she was 19.
Yes.
Like, that's 40 plus years have gone by. It's not fair.
That's not fair. I was pissed at that.
Specific to the person experiencing it. The rest of the world does not have to acknowledge it. They do because human kindness exists and humans are empathetic, but the rest of the world does not have to acknowledge it. The rest of the world does not have to change how they operate to make someone grieving comfortable. We choose to do those things because it's right, but it's not a requirement. If you lose someone in your life, my best friend passed away 2 years ago. If I were to make another friend or enter a new relationship, I can't expect them to remember the date that Tone passed away. Like, I can't get mad at that. That doesn't make sense. So I think that Rhonda has a bad habit of taking her triggers, her grief, her traumas, and expecting everybody else to do the work to make her comfortable while not being willing to do the work to make others comfortable. And I just don't want to see it no more. But Pat got fed up. He pulled over. I don't blame him. I thought for sure Pat was gonna storm out that car, y'all. And be
I would
walking.
have.
I would have too.
I would have. Like, I'm at Uber. I'll see you at the apartment because there's no way. Because she pissed him off to
She
the
pissed him off.
extreme.
It was what she said. It was trying to humiliate and cause him to feel really bad by saying, I mean, it's just about my dad. I would have pulled over too because he can't argue. Because then if he argues with you, it's a problem. So I was glad he did calm down and explain that he often feels set up to fail by her. Feels
Yeah.
like she's running and putting and conducting all these little tests for him. He feels like he's constantly under evaluation. And this bitch had the nerve to ask for grace.
It was like,
Where's his
wow, how
grace?
gaslighting. Where's his grace?
Like,
Where's, yeah, like how gaslighting is that? Like, I would have been pissed off if she, as soon as she asked me that question, because where the fuck is my grace? Why do I have to extend that to you, but you have little tests and quizzes for me, and then when I don't get it right, then you get all angry saying I'm making things about me. It's like, well, what the hell? Rhonda, you cannot have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. Yes.
And what James said, I'm going to record James saying that and get a bullhorn to play that shit out front of her house every single day. You can't have it both ways, Rhonda, and you're not going to. The thing with Rhonda, though, she's likable, but I don't see Rhonda and Pat working out in the long run. I think at first I used to worry that Pat was a little bit too timid and would just deal with it to be with someone. But after seeing how he pulled over, that showed me, okay, he does have limits. He does have boundaries. And he will assist them when he needs to.
Yep.
But, you know.
Anybody would in that situation. And that's what's so crazy about it. Anybody would have been pushed to their limits, because for you to sit up there and be so sarcastic and then gaslight me at the same damn time, it's like anybody would have been pushed to their limits. Like, I'm surprised, like we said, he didn't get out the car and just said, I'll Uber home. Goodbye. Because I would have done that. Like, if I got pushed to that point where there was no win, I'm gone. Like, I will see you later.
That's a good point to bring up too, because most people think that way, even if they don't realize it. That's part of fight or flight response in humans, and most people will think that way. If you give them an opportunity where they can see that no matter what they do, they will fail, they will just say fuck it. A lot of times, they've done experiments. Ivan Pavlov, the famous psychologist, has done experiments in it. A lot of people have looked into that because every human has their limit. And every human operates in a way that is meant to protect themselves. And if protecting themselves means getting away from that bullshit, then do what you got to do, Pat. But I don't think it'll work out. And I feel like if it doesn't, she's going to blame him. But we know that. Now, Brittany and Will meet with Pastor Cal and Dr. P. Dr. P and Pastor Cal is like, what y'all mean y'all ain't having no problems? Because they try to act like they got no problems. And Brittany explains she doesn't know where Will stands. She's like, everything's good with us. We're getting along now. But I think what's happening with Britt and Will is they're so afraid to argue again that they're just avoiding it and letting shit slide, which they shouldn't do. Yeah. She says she doesn't know where she stands with Will. And he's like, yeah, I mean, you're asking me every other day what's going to happen on decision day, which is normal for this type of experiment. Yes, she wants to know as she's sharing her body and her home with you if you're interested in falling for her after she flipped out. But you're not sending any clear signals. You're not sending any signals, really, Will, at all, except for when it comes time to get that ass, I'm noticing. Mm-hmm. Are you like the rest of them, sir? Because that's what it's giving right now. Mm-hmm. But Dr. P asks the couple again where they stand, and Will says that if he had to make a decision today, if decision day was today, he would say yes, but he doesn't know what will happen in a few days, which is a response that says he could lose her whenever. But it's also a response that says to me, you don't know if that's your person, and you're not looking at this correctly. You're married at first sight. You should be deciding if you could say yes to her even on days that you may want to say no.
Yep.
Not deciding, oh, it could change. That's marriage, dumbass. There are some days that me and Josiah get along very well, Mr. Best, whatever the hell y'all know him as. And there are other days that I don't want to be bothered with the nigga. And that's okay.
It is.
And that's
same
okay.
over here.
And he'll go in the living room and do what he do, and I'll be in the room and handling my stuff and doing what I do, and nothing is wrong with that. I'm sick of these people.
I'm sick of them too, because it's not this difficult.
Nope.
It's not this difficult, and you should not be putting her through all these emotional gymnastics like you doing, sir. Like, that is absolutely insane to me, that you're that closed off and that shut down, that you are literally making her go through a whole maze trying to figure out where you lead and where you follow and where you go. And nobody...
He annoys me because I feel like he thinks that it makes him look intelligent.
Right. Like, yes.
And I feel like some Black people do this, where they take pride in standing out or being more successful, speaking better, think all this extra stuff. Will gives me that. I don't like it. I'm going to say cut the shit for now. Pastor Cal asked Will and Brittany if they've discussed living together. She looked at him like, she gave him that, I've been trying, nigga, and you be looking at me like I'm crazy, and now the pastors is asking us, so what's up? Like, she had that look. Because you could tell he's probably like, that's not what we're supposed to be focusing on. Like, I feel like he's a smooth talker and will try and use his intelligence to out-talk her and get out of situations, which is why I'm glad he's with someone who's smart and works in HR, which means that she probably is good at spotting bullshit and knowing when people are keeping stuff from stuff, because half of their job is to investigate and use their discernment. So, what I think happened, if I'm going to keep it honest, I think that Brittany's behavior on the honeymoon, I think Will was done at that point and is only trying to find a way to deal with her because he signed up for the experience and is married. But I think he was done at that point. I think that showed him all he needed to see, which is okay, because some people don't want to put up with that, men and women. So I can understand that, but I think the disconnect is that he continued on and is trying to find that care and is trying to find those sparks and is trying to find that chemistry again, but I don't know if he can.
He's shut down and he's closed off. No, he's never gonna reopen that door.
But to finish the scene, he does explain his reasons for a couple of things. They discussed the moving a little bit with the pastor, and Will was like, we can move into her house and I'll keep my apartment though. And it's like, he said it so nonchalantly, and it's like, that's kind of rude because you're married at first sight. That sends a message like, I'm keeping my shit in case we don't work out, which I actually think is smart. But it's the way he delivered his message, which the pastors pointed out to him as well. And he was like, yeah, I know I'm abrasive and can be direct. Well, if you know that, then change it. My husband is just like Will. He's a man of very few words unless he likes you or knows that you're not evil. I think James can attest to that.
Yes.
But his few words that he does give will be direct. When I say the only time that man is not abrasive, if it's something he don't like or explaining himself, is with me. Like, people will say that Also Best softens up when it comes to Mrs. Best. Probably because there's some love there. That's how things should be. That's how things should be. But it seems like Will is just abrasive and knows that's about himself, but he doesn't care about this girl enough to like try and be a little bit softer or gentler. Like, he is gentle, he is caring, but I just don't see him falling in love with her. I don't know. I don't trust that they will work.
I know they're not going to work.
Yeah.
I know they're not going to work. They're not going to work. And it's so unfortunate because I know we'll get to it, but that scene with Brittany's family, like, I know what that feeling is like. So at this point,
we'll actually discuss that scene now because I only had a sentence for that scene, and it was the fact that her mom explained to her to do the opposite of what she saw for the marriages in her family and what he saw with his family, because a lot of people do make the mistake I always say this on my lives, and y'all be looking at me crazy, but you ever notice the people who grew up with the parents that have been married for 40 and 50 years, Megan's a good example on this show, are the people who struggle the most in relationships. And for the people who grew up with single parents, but grew up in close families, or grew up very close with their family, they end up alone or struggling with dating. It's not always a good thing. Do the opposite of what you see. It'll help encourage you to grow and to learn more and to step outside of the box, but it will also more than likely help you to think for yourself, which is vital when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, but also parents have to be clear about what that is too. I get that a lot of parents have to spare their children, the personal business between mom and dad because they're husband and wife. But at the same time, if you want your children to do the opposite of what you did because you know your shit ain't the best, you need to explain to them why and what it's possible that what they could have seen emulated in their own relationships. Like one thing my parents were very clear about when they separated, I knew the reason. I knew what each one of them did. I knew the cause. I knew every single thing. So that way I was aware and that I would not do those same things in my own marriage. And I didn't. So you have to be clear. Like a lot of parents won't tell their kids why they got divorced. And I think that's sad.
Yeah, that's actually, especially in the Black community, people need like that whole stay in a child's place. Y'all got to understand, a child's place is the exact same place that an adult's mind is at. The only difference is deductive and inductive reasoning, as well as like how they express themselves. Is literally it. So that is a good thing. Don't tell your kids too much, but
tell them enough especially when you see them getting into relationships.
They need to understand when to cut it off. They need to understand boundaries. And it's also sometimes good to show them that a happily ever after is not always guaranteed and promised.
Yes.
But that's really all I'll go over with her parents because I want to move on. It's been a long time. Dr. P and Castor Calvin then meet with Megan and Derek. Not much. They exchanged I love yous. I think
these
that
ones we couldn't see.
At
least ones we couldn't see. That wasn't shown on camera.
I said this on when she got mad on the paddle boat and the honeymoon. I said it first and I will stick to it. This is not a woman who should have came on TV for this, but I guess she wanted the experience she got to be behind closed doors because she gets a little hectic in arguments. And they've proven that, but they said I love yous. Later on, we learned to end the episode that Megan is pregnant. They've been fucking unprotected the whole time. That's probably making the sex better, all these arguments. Because I'm trying to tell you, it's probably making the sex better. But I worry. I do think that both of them will want a child enough to where they will have their child have lots of love. But looking at her face, they both looked very nervous. Like they don't know each other. You don't know her favorite color. You don't know her for what school she went to school for elementary school. You don't know the name of her best friend, the last name. You don't know her social security number. I know my husband's. He knows mine. Like there's a lot that they don't know and they're having a baby. And I really wish people would stop sensationalizing that. Now, in this case, yes, they're older and I feel like, okay, get it over with. But I also don't like.
But when you look at the logistics of it, they're only a month in, which means they would have had to conceive literally on their honeymoon. Like literally the night that they got there, they would have to conceive. Because I was doing the math. I said, well, now, wait a minute, Megan, hold on.
They've been having sex. She had said that in the honeymoon.
Yeah, but it's only been a month. So like.
They got that love. WeTV, where you at? It's giving love after lockup, Justine and Michael. They had sex once when that man got out of jail before he went to the halfway house. When he came home from the halfway house, she was like, I'm pregnant. He's like, how? She said, we fertile. Shit. And them people got like 9 kids on TV. They got to figure it out. That's why she always looked tired.
That's all. I'm just like, I said, okay, I'm going to go with it because I don't want to call her no hoe.
I'm never excited for Married at First Sight's babies. I'm always nervous. Because I also think of it this way. You 38, he 38. Y'all could have just went and did what everybody else did and got you a baby daddy or a baby mama if you was just going to have a baby by the first person you met after a month. Because that's all they both talk about, the kids. Outside of kids, I don't see a connection.
I see one, but it's not romantic.
They give friends. They don't
They
give
give friends that have similar upbringings. That's what they give me. They don't give me like a whole, oh, we're connected through love. They give me that they grew up similarly. That's why that mama liked his family so much and can't wait to see them again. Because she was just thrusting through her teeth. I said,
I
damn,
know
lady.
Megan's mad too, because baby, if I froze my eggs just to get knocked up a month in, and I bet y'all that's why she was tripping, because James is right with the pregnancy stuff. That's probably why she was tripping out on nothing about kids. Pregnant as hell, didn't even know it. I'm trying to tell you. Tripping.
Because to me, it just made, I feel like she knew.
I do too.
I feel like she knew.
I feel like she knew and wanted to avoid taking the test at first. But a woman knows.
I feel like she knew, or maybe had an idea, and then she was just like, "Fuck, he keep bringing this shit up. I don't want to tell him because I don't want to give him the satisfaction."
She's probably been known, which is probably why she got mad at him for acting like he didn't know if she wanted kids, because she's probably like, because she kept saying, "We've been having sex, and I'm protected." So I feel like she probably has. We'll talk about this more in the next episode, you guys. I mean, they don't know each other. They're pregnant. We'll see where it goes from now. We just gonna be like this for them people, honestly. But that was it. This was a very long review. We have one more episode left to go over. I am going to probably do that on Monday after Potomac. I have a very busy weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna have a very busy Monday. I'm just gonna let you know that now.
Why?
Because Love and Marriage Huntsville is back this weekend.
Do it on Sunday. Why would you wait till Monday?
Because I was giving you a day off from the concert.
I'd rather do that. I don't want to deal with that on my day off. I'm sorry. That was the most genuine Amina response y'all could get.
I knew she was going to respond like that because I knew she wasn't going for that, y'all. I knew she wasn't going to go for that. That's why I did that. Because I knew she was going to be like, oh, the fuck not. Nope. We going to do that shit on Sunday. Wake your ass up so we can get this shit out the way.
I'll be up on Sunday. If not, I'll be home on Sunday because I'm going to that concert. But I don't want to do that shit on Monday, James. Yeah, I didn't know Love and Marriage Huntsville was back, but knowing them
back
5 episodes, because this was a mid-season finale, right? But we never know because they say that and then they be online like new season,
and girl, we don't know. 5 episodes in, then we got the reunion. I'm like, yeah. So, but okay, Sunday it is. So tomorrow morning will be on my channel.
Yeah. I guess I'll put Married at First Sight on Sunday also. After Love and Marriage, just to cleanse our energy after that shit.
Yeah, because I don't even feel like it's already getting on my nerves based on the little snippet I just saw. So yeah.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. But y'all, that's it for this recap. I appreciate you guys. We're gonna have a lot of shows coming back. Me and James, Married to Medicine is coming back. Love and Marriage Huntsville is back. Potomac, we're gonna be doing Bell Collective, Surviving Mormonism. We went from nothing to a whole lot of something.
A whole lot of somethings. And Lord, I just thank God I have the time right now.
And for whatever reason, I am back in school 11/11. So I am going to try and keep my schedule from scaring everyone. But apologies in advance. But other than that, I appreciate everybody. Thank you, James. Like the video. And I will see you guys next time. Adios.